Okay, the last trig lesson is the unit circle. Alright, so I'm going to show you a pattern that we're going to draw here. So I have a circle, and we're going to take some angles. Okay, here's the pattern. So we're going to have 0 degrees, and then we're going to have 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. Can you keep going with that pattern? Okay, so now we gotta go 30 in, so we're at 120. We're gonna go 45 in, so that's 135. We're going to go 60 in, 150, 180. All right, 30 in is 210. 45 in is 225. 60 in is 240, 270. 30 in is 300. Then we're at 315, 330, and then back to 360. Okay, so you need to be able to label that on your unit circle, all of those angles, creating that pattern. Okay, now we're going to label everything with an XY point. So a unit circle is called a unit circle because the radius of this circle is 1 unit. So from here to here would be a distance of 1 on an XY plane. Okay, so if we know that, these ones are easy to get on the quadrant lines. So this would be x coordinate 1, y coordinate 0. This would be at a 0 height of 1. This one would be -1, 0. And this one would be 0, -1. Okay, here's a pattern. You ready? Root 0 over 2, root 1 over 2, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and root 4 over 2. See the pattern? We're going to use that pattern to create all of the coordinates for this. I'm going to make this one look better because root 0 is 0, 0 divided by 2 is just 0. Root 1 is 1, so I can change that to 1/2. There's nothing I can do with root 2, nothing I can do with root 3, and root 4 is 2, and then 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, you ready? I'm going to go here. These have x coordinates of 0. So if I move right, I'm at the next x coordinate, 1/2. If I move right one more, I'm at the next x coordinate, root 2 over 2. And I move right more, and the next x coordinate is root 3 over 2. And then I move right one more, and the final coordinate is 1. Okay, then we're going to go this way. Okay, so moving from here at 0, if I move left, the first x coordinate would be -1/2 because I'm moving left. Okay, then the next would be -root 2 over 2. Then follow the pattern, so the next would be -root 3 over 2, and then -1. So you see how it follows the pattern? 1/2, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, 1. -1/2, -root 2 over 2, -3 over 2, -1. Okay, now let's do the y coordinates. You ready? This is a height of 0. Let's move up 1 y coordinate. So that would be 1/2. The next y coordinate would be root 2 over 2. The next would be root 3 over 2. And then the highest would be 1. So I followed that. Okay, here we go. We're going to go down now. So this is a height of 0. So down 1. These both have a height of -1/2. Down again, negative root 2 over 2. Almost forgot my negative there. Down another one, negative root 3 over 2. Down one more, -1. Okay, when you look at this, you can see some things. You can see that root 3's over 2's always go with 1/2. And if it's a root 2 over 2, it always goes with another root 2 over 2. Okay, so these always go together, and this one always goes with itself. Okay, and then these always go with each other as well, right? You see that? You know, in quadrant 1, you should have the coordinates being positive, positive, right? In quadrant 2, you have -x, positive y's, right? Because you're left and up. In quadrant 3, everything should have negative because it's left and negative because it's down. And in quadrant 4, you should have positive x down, so negative y's. Okay, so that's another thing to check. Okay, so you're going to have to develop that from scratch. I'm just going to give you a circle. And you have to get all the angles and all the coordinates. Okay, now recall these formulas. Sine of angle is y over r. Cosine of angle is x over r. Tan of angle equals y over x. Okay? We saw these in the XYR lesson, and these are on your formula sheet. They will be given to you. Okay, ready. What if I do, what is the sine of 30 degrees? Okay, so the sine is using the y coordinate over the r coordinate. So I'm going to go here. I find 30 degrees. This is the y coordinate. Okay, so I'm doing 1/2 and I'm dividing it by the r. What is the r? What is the radius of this circle? 1. So therefore my answer is 1/2. Okay, so essentially when you're doing the unit circle, this is going to be scrapped and this is going to be scrapped because you're just dividing by 1 and dividing by 1. Okay, so the coordinates are really like that, because the x value is the cosine of the angle and the y value is the sine of the angle. So let's go like this now, considering what we know. Cos of 225. So I'm going to go to 225 degrees, which I see right here, and all I'm going to do is take the x value. So 225 negative root 2 over 2. And I'm done. I just take the x value. Okay, but what if I do this? What is the tan of 30 degrees? Okay, so tangent of 30 degrees, right here. I got to take the y value and divide it by the x value. So y is 1/2 divided by the x value, root 3 over 2. Okay, so this one's not as simple because I'm not dividing by 1. So what do you know? Dividing by fractions, you actually can multiply and reciprocate. A 2 on the top and bottom cancel, and I get 1 over root 3. Okay, all of these answers should also connect to your astica. 30 degrees is in the A quadrant, so this better be positive. 30 degrees here in the A quadrant, so this better be positive. 225, right? Astica, this is in the T quadrant. So tangent is positive, but cos is negative, and it's a negative answer. One last one here. Tan of 270. So that says take the y divided by the x. So 270. So take the y divided by the x. And that's what you have. Does anybody know a rule about dividing by 0? You can try it if you want, but what's going to happen? Error. So you cannot divide by 0, so your answer is undefined.